Breakdown of a MANTUA TYCO ALCO 430 electric motor. These were also used on the early GP20s MANTUA TYCO. The example I'm going to use is a presidential lettered ALCO 430 by MANTUA TYCO. It is burned up, not working. We'll begin with the removal. You need to remove the side frames here. Most likely you'll break the tabs off. It'll have to be re-glued. This one has been re-glued previously by another owner, so I'm going to snap it loose right there. Using a flat blade precision screwdriver, insert under the tab here at the shell and pry. Once you've pulled the tab out of the shell, just take it and pry. The other side will come out. Twist the thing so you can see here, you have to twist it at an angle to get it out of the coupler pocket on the front. And there's the shell, and the windshields will come out also sometimes when you remove the motors. This one appears to have been removed previously by someone else who doesn't know nothing about electronics or electric motor wiring. They have the light wire coming from the rear power pickup and the light wire into the same one soldered here, which will never work. So I'll cut both of these loose and then we'll start tearing this truck down. I'm going to cut this wire. You want to cut it. This is for the headlight in the locomotive, which is mounted up in the cab there, as you see. If I was to reinstall this, I'm going to cut it as you would reinstall it. Since this one's not going to be reinstalled and used again, I'm going to snip it right here with a pair of cutters. And this one right here. That way it makes for easy resoldering if you're going to reinstall it. Just for comparison, I have the MANTUA TYCO on the right and the Power Torque on the left. And the Power Torque has a plastic sub-assembly that snaps into the shell, which holds the truck to the shell. And the MANTUA's is permanently mounted by 2 rivets on each end, as you see here, right here and right there. And again, the TYCO snaps on. It's easy. You have to remove it to tear the Power Torque down. It snaps back on. This is swivel for the shell here. Also, on the bottom of the trucks are very different. The Power Torques have 3 Phillips head screws that have to be removed. However, on a MANTUA TYCO ALCO 430 or GP20 model, these have to be drilled out and replaced with screw and nuts. You will need a good drill, and I'm going to use a drill bit. I have a quick change set of drill bits here from Black & Decker. These are really nice to work with. The quick change bits, I'm going to select a 1/8 bit to drill the hole out on the truck here, right there, and drill that rivet. Both rivets have to be drilled out and replaced. Again, I'm using a 1/8 drill bit. This is the quick change bit. Slide it back, put the bit in, and now it's locked and we're ready to drill. And now we'll begin to drill the rivets out. Now if the rivet's drilled out, it's ready to fall off, so you want to hold the bottom until you're ready. And here's what it looks like on the internal of the MU motor, drilled out. This is the bottom plate of the MU motor. It is metal casting. As you see, I have 2 nice round holes now to reinstall some screws later on. Just for comparison, on top I'm holding a Power Torque versus the MANTUA on the bottom. Notice the difference in the gearing and the motor in general. You're now looking at the internal parts again here. This is the brush spring arm. Actually, there's no spring in here, it's just a set of brushes mounted on a brass plate. These are not replaceable. This is the commutator, the winding, then you have 2 straps, motor straps, that holds the armature up into the block here here and here. If you're to tear this down, these have to be removed, and I'm not sure about how to place them, as I've never done it. Also, when you drill out the rivets, these wheel cradles here will pop off. Just make sure they're back on if you reinstall it. Again, I don't recommend you tearing one down to do this. Right here, this is basically showing what's inside the EMU motor, as many people don't know that have these trains. I will remove these so you can see the gear on the motor shaft. This is another big difference from the power torque. Here's the top of the EMU motor. If you were to replace the brush set, if you could find some, you'd have to take the screw here out and remove it to get this. It's spring loaded and also has a wire solder right here, so all this would have to be redone if removed. Again, once you drill the rivets out, you pull it up through the top. You may have to jiggle them some. And yes, they may be a little stubborn to get it out through the hole here, as this one you see here. I have an 8/32, approximately 3-inch screw that will fit back down through there later on. You may need to use a 256 screw, would probably work better than what I have here. This is the rivet. I don't know if you can find these. You may have a local hardware store that can find something this size here to pop back in there to get the truck back together once you reassemble, if you take it apart, which again I don't recommend. So many of you may be wondering how you would grease the gears in one without popping the rivets loose. You can get a toothpick and stick it through the holes here and just try to reach the gears and let your locomotive run, which would eventually coat the, and same thing for oiling through the holes here. Don't over oil though. Another note I forgot to mention earlier, if you remove the rivets, when you reinstall, you want to make sure your plate's on here so it'll swivel when you reinstall it back into the shell. And this here's your side view, pretty much the motor casting block, and this is the right side. Just the quick differences: on the left is the power torque truck cradle, and on the right is the MANTUA. The MANTUA has a spring right here. There's one on each side, whereas the power torque is more of a plastic, as you can see right there. MANTUA, spring loaded. It allows it to rock back and forth. This is pretty much the breakdown of the MANTUA motor in general. I didn't go in a lot of detail on a lot of things. To find out more information, go to hoseeker.net or TYCO Collectors Forum at tycoforums.com. Thank you for watching.